It's a great pleasure this morning that we have with us the Executive Director of the Downtown Mission, Ron Dunn. And that's all I'm going to say about him. And I'm going to ask him to come up now and share with us.
Good morning, everyone. First, I'd like to take the opportunity to thank you for inviting myself and my wife Ruth out to celebrate our faith together. There's a lot that I do in a day and a week, but nothing is better than the tours that I love to give, but also being able to come out and speak to our faith family, our faith community. So thank you again for that, for your leadership. So, boy, where to start with what's going on at the mission, huh? Your service today, first of all, couldn't be more on point. You can't see it from there, and I can't see it since I just took my glasses off, but on the inside of my frame, I have the inscription Matthew 25, 35, 40. So it's also the password to my banking information and the rest of my life, so if you're interested in stealing my identity, you now have the key. But it's very to the point of what we're trying to do at the mission. We are trying to be the hands and the feet of Jesus. And it's not an easy thing to do, as you all know, every day on a day-to-day basis, but it is what we do or try to do. So the mission in 2018 experienced growth that we did not anticipate, that we weren't ready for, quite frankly. Our meal program went from 726 a day to 900 a day. You expect some growth, but 726 a day in 2017 was up from about 500 in 2016. And so you think that there's going to be this ceiling that you're going to hit, and that, that'll be that. But you've heard lots in the news about the opioid crisis, the affordable housing crisis, the mental health crisis. Sometimes we talk about those things in the media like they're new, and they're not. Essex County has had a drug epidemic going back years and years. And there's people in this room that do that work every day. And so you certainly understand that. But what it has brought to focus at the mission is that we are ground zero for all three of those really large epidemics right now. So we're being called on to do more for more people. We have a 103-bed shelter on our facility on Olette Avenue, and in 2018 we housed about just under 19,000 people, so 19,000 nights of shelter. That jumped to 26,208 people in 2019. So just that one kind of statistic to show you that all of our programs have just expanded exponentially. So the good news is that Essex County continues to be very generous with us and supports us financially. The bad news is that the need has outgrown or outpaced the donations. So for the first time in the history that I've been there, about 8 years, we ran a deficit for 2018. And it's going to be a tough 2019 based on that. However, the great news is that we're helping people to wholeness, to wellness. We're bringing people through our programming from homelessness, from addiction, from mental health crisis. We're bringing them, some of them at least, to a spot of wellness. So we have a program called the Enterprise Program. And as I like to say, that makes me the captain of the Enterprise, so if there's any Star Trek fans out there. But this Enterprise program, what it does is it takes folks with barriers to employment, and through an educational session and through the teaching of servant leadership, we bring them from where they were to a place of job readiness. And then we help them get jobs, and we follow them for 3 months in their jobs so that they can be successful. So great news in 2018 is that we had a 70% success rate with that program. The better news for 2019 is that we will have 100% success. And somebody says, well, come on, little optimistic, Ron. Well, first of all, if I have nothing, it's optimism. That's what gets me up every morning. But we have a social enterprise, 2 of them. One is a deli called the Do Good Deli, and that's a restaurant, basically, that allows folks to get hands-on training in a restaurant setting. And then we have a company called Charities, and Charities is a t-shirt and promotional products company. So the next time you need a engraved keychain or a mug with somebody's face on it, or a t-shirt, we have over 1 million products that we can sell through that company. But we just got a contract with Vistaprint. I'm sure you've heard Vistaprint is a big, I mean, you know, we'd be happy to have one of their little crumbs. That's how big they are, right? They're a multi-million dollar company. So they've given us a contract that has them doing some of the work that they don't want to do. And so anybody who doesn't get a job or we can't find a placement for, we're hiring them for a 3-month stint at Charities. So that gives us 100% kind of a win there for us. So we're really excited about that program. So you've heard lots of things that what's happening for us in the coming future. So I want to talk about that a bit. And how are we doing with our video up there? Are we semi-confident? Fingers crossed? Okay, great. So we've got a video. If it works, great. I should tell you, just as it's being queued up, we hired the most handsomest actor that we could find on our budget. So I did tell you the money's tight. So if we can see the video, you'll know what I'm talking about. So we've just while it's queuing up, we've put together a series of videos. They were recorded all in one afternoon, one shot, no notes, right from the heart. So I hope that that's the message that everybody gets. We're getting a lot of questions about what's next and why the library purchase, and you know, shouldn't we be using that money to house people and feed people and all those things. And the reality is we are doing those things as well, but we're doing them in a quarters right now that just are inadequate for the amount of people we're serving. So when we bought the church in 2001 to renovate it, we renovated that church to feed 100 people a day. And I just shared with you that we're serving 900 people a day, so you can see where the problem would be. Imagine in your own kitchen is good enough for your family of 4 or 6. The Downtown Mission is a charitable center that deals with issues of poverty and homelessness. We've done a lot of growing and expanding of services. We've merged with different charities to help better serve the community. So lots of milestones, certainly none as big as what we're about to undertake, which is the acquisition of the Windsor Public Library. We're looking forward to moving into that new home and being able to have even a greater impact for those that we serve. The big question, of course, is why do we need such a big space and what are we doing with it? What we intend to do is to sell the property on Victoria and move all of our key services over to the library. It's a large space. It's going to allow us to concentrate on things that we're doing already, but we're doing in very tight corners, and we're not doing it as well as we could or should be doing. The magic of the mission has always been our ability to meet the need, to do the work that we're doing now in a more productive, more cost-effective way, is leading to the decision to move to the library. However, the key reason is housing. We recognize that there is a huge disconnect between getting somebody from wellness to a place of safety and security. Everybody deserves a home. Everybody deserves a place that is safe. This isn't about the mission. It's not about me, it's not even about you. It's about those that we mutually serve. How do I look somebody in the face honestly and say, your future is going to be better, it's going to be okay, if there's no place for them to live? So we're going to build 25 to 30 of these units, 1 bedroom, fully accessible. We're going to remove the barriers for people. You know, you can't get an apartment without a credit check. If you've been living rough or you've just been living in poverty, having a credit check done is a barrier. And these are not just apartments to house people, you know, here's a place, see you later. We're going to work with those individuals. We're going to continue to help them in any way that they need. And the fact that the mission's primary services will be right below them, they'll have access on a 24-hour basis to anything they need to help them be successful in their apartment. The library doesn't just represent a move for us and our services, but it represents change. It represents opportunity for us to give even more to somebody who needs it. The people we're helping, they can never repay the kindness that we're about to bestow on them. And we're about to do that because of you. Nothing happens at the mission without you. we are funded by the community. Our ability to move to the library, to have a greater impact, to serve more people in better ways is attributed directly to our volunteers and to our donors. So that's why we're asking you to help us continue the work that you've started, building hope. It's not just a slogan on a t-shirt, it's not our campaign name, it's what we're about. And I just want to thank you in advance, whether you're praying for us or you're donating your time or your treasure, please continue to support us. Continue to help us help others. And together we will make a huge difference in people's lives. And so thank you tremendously from the bottom of our hearts. We can't do it without you. There you go. I mean, first of all, I think we can all agree that the camera adds at least 25 pounds. But more importantly, I think we can agree that the mission, the magic really has been our ability to adapt. When you think about it, in a church not too much different than this one, Central United, in 1972, they invited about 28 men in for coffee after Mass or after service every Sunday. And think about the impact that that has had through just people being courageous enough to take a next step and the next step and the next step. When we bought the church in 2000, there was board members that left. You guys run a church. You understand how those dynamics and the politics of it are. And so here we are making a really courageous step forward to better serve the people that God has asked us to serve. There's no doubt or even a hint of suspicion that this is a monumental task. The entire project we now know is worth $9.3 million. We're applying for government assistance to do the apartments. We know that there's 34 apartments going in there, more than what we said on the video. But we know that we've sold the church on Victoria. So yeah, so that's always one of the things that were in our mind, because in the old days no churches were available, and now so many are. And what do you do with them, and so on. So we've sold that church. We got a premium for it. We did very well. We know that, unfortunately, Wesley United in Amherstburg had closed down a number of years ago. They gifted us they were holding a mortgage for a developer. And so that mortgage has come due, and so that was a gift to us of $600,000. So that money is going to help us purchase the library. So we're about $2.2 million to the good, which is phenomenal. It's not 9.3, but it's something, and we're excited that we have something to look forward to in our very near future that will help serve people better, which will help, we hope, make a dent in some of these crises that we're all in the middle of. The folks that are coming to see us, many of them have been misplaced or displaced from their homes based on the new housing reality, the real estate market. My wife and I just re-upped our mortgage, and they said our house was worth $300,000. I said, give me two, I'll leave right now. Right? It's not worth $300,000 in my opinion, but that's the reality. The real estate market has gone up so high. That's good news for homeowners. It's really bad news for renters. An average apartment, the folks that we're serving, if you're making $624 a month on social services as a single individual, you used to be able to get a spot for $400 or $500, and you still lived horribly. But it was better than now. There's not even a chance of those. There's people paying $500-$600 a month for a room above a bar. They don't have their own bathrooms. They don't have their own living rooms. They don't control their own climate. In fact, if you want an air conditioner in the summertime, then it's an extra $25 to $50 a month on top, because you can't bring your own. You have to rent it from the landlords. And so people are living really rough, and 35 units that we're going to put up is not going to change the world for a ton of people, but it's a start, right? And those units are program units, as you heard, so we're going to help people, we're going to reach out, we're going to work with our partners in the community to make sure these folks are successful, and we're going to offer them 3 one-year leases. So they can only stay with us for up to 3 years, But in those 3 years, we're going to help them get to a spot where they can afford and help them locate a more traditional space. So we're really excited about the library project. We're really excited about the opportunity that we're given to serve those that we care so much about. That's really, I guess, what's going to consume most of the mission life for 2019. We take possession of that building June 28th. Construction starts June 29th. Our administration has to be out of the top 2 floors of our current building by August 1st. So we have 30 days to vacate, but we're renting for $1 a month. We're renting the dining room for 8 months. So that'll give us time to renovate 8 months to a year. We're going to renovate. Obviously, the library has to be transformed. So we've got it all set up. We need to have continued prayer. There's no doubt in our minds the magnitude of this project. We, while doing the library project, as important as it is, we still need to serve the 900 plus people a day that come to us for basic need. They still need to be clothed, right? They still need counsel. Today's reading, they still need all those things. They need to be visited in jail. They need to be comforted. They need to be clothed and given water and food. So what we call basic necessity, right? They need all those things. Those things, based on our 2018 failure to make our budget, are going to be harder to give in 2019. So we have to encourage people who are supporting us on our operational side to also support us on our library side, and at the same time ask people if they can dig a little deeper. That would be helpful. So it's a tough year for us, because how do you do that, right? 80% of our funding comes in at less than $100. So the good news is we have a lot of people who send us $100 a year at Christmas time, and that helps us tremendously. What we're asking people to do is consider giving us $10 a month. That way it's a little less of a sting at the end of the year. If your dishwasher breaks, then, in November, you might only give us $50. The other thing we experienced in 2018 that was a bit of a problem for us is we merged with the Windsor Youth Center. And we had hoped that folks who were sending $100 to the Windsor Youth Center and $100 to the Downtown Mission would continue to do that. But what they've done in some cases is just send us $100. So we actually took, a bit of a hit there, because we are one agency now. So I see the logic, but the cost didn't go down as much as that. So we've got some challenges. There's no doubt. But on the great side, we're housing people every month. Our staff are finding people apartments, as tough as that is, but we're getting people housed. We are providing, we have a mental health nurse starting in February who is on a grant for 12 hours a week, but we're doing that. We have a volunteer nurse who is there 3 times a week who does amazing work. We've worn a path across the alley from us is Street Health, and they do primarily all of the healthcare services, but we do a lot at our place too after hours. So we're doing a lot of medical things that we never thought we would do, helping people with medications and things like that. Most people that come to us have multiple issues, for lack of a better word, either addiction and mental health, or in many cases both together, and multiple things. So we do our best every day, and we do that with the help of everybody sitting here today and everybody across Essex County who supports us. In fact, we have donors in every province in Canada, which is really great. That means somebody's moved away and still continues to support us. So we appreciate that. One of the things we are doing is fundraising, of course. So every year you hear about the coldest night of the year. The coldest night of the year is a walk that happens at the Mission. It starts and ends back at the Mission, and it's an opportunity for somebody to walk 2, 5, or 10 kilometers. I don't know why anyone would walk 10 kilometers unless you're being chased, but it's an option for people. And all the money that we raise, while it's a national event, stays here, so that's really exciting news. And there's 120 or so missions across Canada that all walk at the same time. So not only does it raise the money, but it also raises awareness, and it pushes our politicians a bit. I've been in some conversations lately with all three levels of government. Talk is cheap, and so are they. So I'm not having much luck with getting funding, but I did recently tell the city, hey, we provided, if you take all of our services and you add a number next to it of what those services are worth. So each meal is $3.11. Each night of shelter is $36. If you add all that up, we provided $12 million, just over $12 million worth of services to the city and the county. So I went to the city and I said, hey, for $12 million, what if you gave me $500,000? Wouldn't that be a bargain? And they don't have any money, right? They're over budget, is what they say. Mr. Ford didn't return my call. But I'm hopeful, right? We're trying, the point I'm trying to make is that we're reaching out in any way that we can to get anybody who will listen to us help others. This isn't, most of my staff, I just gave them $1 raise, and so they make $15 an hour. So to do the work that we ask them to do and pay them basically minimum wage is pretty tough. So we have a cycle of people in and out because it's hard to keep staff. Having said that, some of our staff who've been with us for a while, they're there for the people, right? They're not there for anything else, obviously, but they're there to help. And so we have a great staff. We have about 700 volunteers. We could use about 750, so if you're all sitting here, no. There's, anything that I got involved at the mission because I had no money. And so at my interview, they said, well, why are you here? And I said, well, because I have no money, but I still want to help. And so I started volunteering, and I ended up on the board, and obviously now I work there. But the message is that we need everybody to do whatever you can do, whether that's dropping in once in a while and helping, or if that's sharing your treasures, your time, or your talents. Sometimes it's counsel. I know I look like I might have all the answers, but I really don't. My wife is here. If you have any doubt, you can ask her, but I'm wrong often. So there's certainly, we need all of those things, and prayer continues to be our number one ask, right? Nothing that we've done since 1972 has happened because of an executive director or the great staff or the wonderful volunteers or even the donors, right? Everything that's happened since 1972 has been God's plan, and we're just kind of trying to work that plan. So we need you to continue to help us work that plan. I think that your songs today, go make a difference, we can make a difference, go make a difference in the world. That was really powerful for me. And it's just it's a church hymn, but it couldn't be truer. Whoever wrote it however long ago, it couldn't be truer as it is today. So I've got about 2 minutes left. I'd like to just open it up to any questions that you might have. I know that sometimes we hear, Tim Hortons, it used to be called water cooler gossip, but now it's Tim Hortons gossip. So where people have conversations about the mission, I'll be honest, I got a call from a church and said, we heard you make $175,000 a year, or $180,000 a year. I said, well, can you tell my board? That'd be great. So anything is on the table, and I open it up to say that we are an open book. It's not my mission. It's not, that mission. It's our mission. You guys built it. So any questions you might have about, programming, finances, anything you might have, I'm open to those questions at this time, and always also,
Oh, I'm going to go over here to Eleanor. But Ron, in my line of work, I see one of your new programs at the emergency room at Alette campus. Can you talk about that?
Sure. So so that's a good point. We did launch a new service. We have a program called Phoenix. It's the Phoenix Recovery and Wellness Program. That is a drug addiction program. It's a non-residential, although we do have a residential side of it, which is something else. But we partnered with with Windsor Regional Hospital, and we now have a outreach worker at the hospital. So they're only there 5 days a week. We are working on funding. It looks like the LIN will make an announcement soon, the local, or the Health Integrated Network. But just to say that that person is there. If somebody presents in the ER that is experiencing homelessness or at risk of homelessness or addiction, our outreach worker will be assigned to this person. So he's been there since about the middle of December, I want to say, and he quickly has now a 35 person on his caseload. And the great part about it is when you're ready to work on your addiction, you're ready now. You're not like, oh, just come back and see us in 6 weeks. There's a waiting period. That doesn't work. So this person, his name is Chris. Chris can actually put the patient in a who we would call a guest, but a patient for the hospital, put them in a cab, and directly send them to the mission, where another one of our outreach workers will be waiting for them, and we'll get them into a program instantly. And first of all, work on their basic needs. So you can't work on sobriety if you haven't eaten in a week, right? If you have no place to live and all that pressure and stress. So yeah, thanks for bringing that up.
If we as a church wanted to have a group go and experience as volunteers what it is like to serve all of these people, how do we go about that?
Yeah, thank you. That's a great question, and really important that you do try and do that, because I think once you see what you're doing, it really makes a big difference. So how you do it, there's a young lady who works with us named Raquel. You just call Raquel, just call the mission and tell them, hey, we're with the church and we want to come down. They'll put you through to the right person. But we have churches that come, every the last Wednesday of every month is their day, and you can come down. You can serve soup in the afternoon, or you can, if you're a morning crew, you can make lunch during the daytime. So there's lots of opportunity for sure. And I'll just say too, while you're talking about volunteering, when I first started at the mission on the board, our mandate was that 51% of our board as members of the United Church of Canada. So we had such lack of participation that we had to change that, because we were always, we were never in compliance with our own bylaw. So we changed the bylaw, but just to say, we need people from the church to run the mission. I have a lot of great people on my board, but they may or may not share the same vision and purpose as the United Church of Canada. And that's not to say that that's a bad thing. I mean, diversity is great, but it would sure be great if we could get folks, take some of your talents, lots of retirees that have all of this knowledge. If we could move that into a leadership position, that would also be very helpful. Currently, we have only one person out of our 13-member board that is part of the United Church. I do have Reverend Jim Hatt, who leads our chaplaincy team. He's from Essex United, but he's not on the board, so throw it out there.
My question has to do about prevention programs. You're doing very well trying to deal with this crisis, but how do we stop the next round coming?
Yeah, thank you. That's a really great question, and that really speaks to why we merged with the Windsor Youth Center. So it's a multi-pronged strategy for sure, but we feel if we can help youth, then we won't have to help them as adults, right? I was born into that cycle, and so I get it. If somebody didn't kind of reach out to me, I'd be on the opposite side of the serving line today. And so I believe, and the mission believes, that if we can help the youth, then it'll brighten our future. I think everyone can agree to that. After that, we have youth addiction programming, we have parenting classes, but also, further down the line where folks are close to homelessness, there's lots of services in Essex County that we plug into that help people with hydro, even some back rent stuff. But we do counseling. People become hoarders or they have mental health issues. If we can help them get well enough or on their medications, then we can help them stay in their apartments as well. I've gone in front of the rent review board myself a number of times and spoken on behalf of our guests. The problem is they have a hard time sometimes advocating for themselves. And so the way they get treated versus the way I get treated when I'm there, it's different. So we're doing all of those things, and certainly it's a case-by-case basis. We like to help as many people. I think if sometimes agencies have this box, and if you don't fit into that box, they can't help you. I don't like boxes. We like to say yes, right? So the answer is that anything that we can do within our means, we certainly try to do. I think you had somebody at the back there.
Good morning, Ron.
Morning.
If we want to get in touch with you, say this next week, what address would we be able to find you at? And thank you for coming and sharing with us this morning.
Thank you. So as you can imagine, we have now 3 buildings, so I'm in and out a lot, but my office is on Victoria, so 664 Victoria. I have some business cards with me. My cell phone number is on it. As you can also imagine, I'm not a 9-to-5er, so if you need to ask me a question or reach out anytime, my phone is always on weekends and all that stuff too. So, and I'd invite you on that, around that piece is if you're going to be downtown and you want to tour, it really is amazing to see what you've built. It really is. The mission is I think, Disney gets the claim for the magical place on earth, but I think we're pretty special too. So if you ever want to see firsthand, it really is. It really is a great place. The people we serve are conflicted at best, but man, are they just great people. They really are. I've sat in corporate boardrooms with, I would say, captains of industries, and I've been full-on hugged by a man who I just picked up out of the dirt, and there's nothing better. There's nothing better. So we accept, if you're having a backyard barbecue, you'd laugh, but people call me up and they ask me to come and pick up they've had this big pizza party, and I get there and there's, a half of a large pizza left over. So the intention was good, but our resources are limited. So if you're dropping off and you're comfortable sharing that food, like if you wouldn't feed it to your family, don't give it to us, right? Otherwise, we don't have a policy on it. Now, we're going to make a judgment call. If somebody dies and they clean out their mom's fridge and they bring us all those things, we don't eat it. My own philosophy at home is when in doubt, throw it out. So we live by that at the mission as well. Having said that, we have a wonderful program called the Fresh Program, and we come to the county every day, and we pick up produce that nobody else wants. So last year we picked up 2.4 million pounds of produce. So I can't imagine how, if that would fill this room. I'm sure it would, at least a few times, but it equates to just over $5.5 million worth of produce. And then we redistribute it to other schools that are at risk, other agencies. We share it with other food banks. Unfortunately, that's a program that's really expensive to run, so we're looking at it, but it really is a great program. So we do take food from Collini's and all kinds of people, funerals and things like that. People, if it's been kind of commercially prepared, that's kind of our target. We're not looking to get leftovers from a potluck, right? Because we have no control of where it came from. Having said that, if it's from an organization like a church that we know, then that's a little different too.
Any other questions?
Oh, my wife has a question. This can't be good.
Uh-oh.
I didn't do it.
Apparently you were wrong.
Yeah, apparently. This is her way of reminding me to say something.
No, we have the dental program, and I think that's something.
Oh, yes. See, this is why I bring her. So we've launched the Alan Quinnell Community Dental Center. So I've had some questions around the dental. Why would you go into a dental business, especially when money is tight? Well, the fact is that we had a donor step up in late 2018, and they donated $1 million. That was Alan Quinnell. So the good news on getting $1 million is you have $1 million and you can do something with it. The bad news is that people say, oh, they got $1 million, they don't need my 20, right? So that hurts a little bit. But we did launch the dental center in August. So August the 12th, we had a gentleman show up before we were opened and said that he's going to keep coming every day until we open so he could be the first patient because he hasn't seen a dentist in about 15 years. He just simply can't afford it, right? So we were set to open up on the Monday, which I think would have been the 20th of August. But on the 17th, we said, all right, you're going to be our first patient. Understand that you're the guinea pig. We haven't fired up this new equipment yet. We're going to test it on you. And he was okay with that. So he walked out with $800 worth of dental, and he paid $162 for it. So what we do is we take, based on their last year income tax return, we give them a 75% discount from the current dental fee guide, right? So essentially, we're making dental affordable for everyone. There's 5 different categories that people fall into. That first category is you're experiencing homelessness, you have no income or very little income, you pay nothing. So it's essentially what we're calling a pay what you can clinic. So we have that program, and then we have anybody who's on Ontario Works or disability, then they have funding through the municipalities, so we'll take that funding. But unfortunately, the city will only pay to remove teeth. So they won't pay for preventative, so they won't clean your teeth, they won't put a crown in or a bridge or all things I don't know much about. But all they'll do is pull it. So historically, and Beth can correct me if I'm wrong, but historically I think we would just pull teeth, and then you really had to come back when either there was more funding or the next tooth was ready to be pulled. So at the Mission, we actually have a number of people who can't take one of the entrees. They have to stick to the salads and the things that they can chew, or they're asking us to put things into a puree, which quite frankly we don't have the time or the even the equipment to do. But it's based on their oral health care. So that drove us to the decision to seek out Mr. Quinnell, and that led his decision to give us the money to open the clinic. Unfortunately, we don't have any operating dollars, right? So from August the 17th with patient 1 to December the 12th, which is the last kind of reporting cycle that I looked at, we had completed $77,000 worth of dental, and about $56,000 of that was free. So you can see that we're losing money quickly, but everything we do is designed to lose money, essentially, with the exception of our 2 social enterprises. But it's an important, we now have over, I think we're about 325 patients. We're down to a 0 wait time for emergencies, which is great. On Tuesday of this coming week, St. Clair College students will be doing their studies for dental hygiene with us moving forward. And we have a private college out of London who is going to start up a new program, and so they're going to help us out as well. So all of those things help. But the dental program is an exceptional program. There's not another one like it. If you go all the way from here to Toronto, even in Toronto, you'll find something that's similar, but not operating the way we operate. So when I started it, when we put the plans down, there's 360 or so dentists in Essex County. I thought that I could get 200 of them to donate 1 day a year. So 1 day a year would mean I would have a fully operating clinic, and I would hire 2 hygienists and an assistant, and we'd go. But I got 5 dentists. So, yeah, so I miscalculated by just a bit. And so we've had to hire a dentist. And so that's the unfortunate part from a budget perspective, is we're now paying a full-time dentist. And to be honest, I don't know how long we'll be able to keep him, because I can't pay him he's a new graduate. As soon as he figures out he can make quite a bit more somewhere else, I'll probably lose him. But he's on contract till August, so fingers crossed. But, thanks for the question, Ruth. The dental program is really great. We also have, so we have the people who can't pay anything, and then all the way on the other end is we can take insurance. So I work for the United Church of Canada, technically, and so I have Green Shield. I will be switching over at my next opportunity to have my teeth cleaned and all those things, because my insurance will pay for me, but it'll also pay for some people who have nothing. So it's really a great program. And again, just one of the things. We also opened up a fitness center last year, helping people stay and become physically fit. Mental health, oral health, and physical health are all linked, and so we're working hard every day to try and bring people to wellness, to move them to the next step in their lives.